I'm 78 years old, and until last Thanksgiving, I thought I was the best father I knew. Stay with me for 60 seconds, because what I'm about to admit is going to upset some of you, especially the ones working 60 hours a week telling yourself it's for them. That's what I told myself for 41 years. I paid for 2 college educations in cash. I paid off my house at 53. I left enough behind that my children won't have to worry. By every measure, my own father would have understood. I won. And then my daughter, Claire, 46 years old, her own daughter standing in the next room, said one sentence to me at my kitchen sink. And I haven't slept the same since. If you're a parent who works hard, who provides, who tells yourself the missed dinners and missed recitals are the price of love, listen, I'm 78. I don't have time to dress this up. I was wrong about almost everything that mattered. It was Thanksgiving, November 28th, 2024. Claire was standing at my kitchen sink, rinsing the gravy boat. Margaret was in the dining room laughing about something with Emma. That's our granddaughter, 14 now. Daniel had already left. I came in to get the carving knife. Casual, easy, the way a Thursday evening is supposed to feel after a good meal. And Claire didn't turn around. She just kept rinsing, and she said it. I'm not going to tell you the exact sentence yet. I'll get to it. I owe it the right setup. Because if I just hand it to you now, you'll hear it the way I heard it that night, as something to argue with, as ingratitude, as a daughter being unfair. That's how I heard it for the first 3 weeks. I stood there with the carving knife in my hand. I said, "What did you just say?" She said, "You heard me, Dad." And then she finished the dishes. Here's what I didn't understand standing at that sink. The sentence wasn't a verdict. It was a receipt. The verdict had been written across 40 years. Made my first big commission in 1983. Claire was 4. Daniel was 7. I missed her preschool graduation that week, and there was a strip mall deal in Aurora I couldn't move. I told Margaret I'd make it up. I always told Margaret I'd make it up. Made partner at 44, bought the Lake Place in Wisconsin, missed Claire's middle school choir concert, the one where she had the solo, because we had a lender meeting that ran long. She had it on VHS. I told her I'd watch it that weekend. I watched it 11 years later, after she got married, when I found the tape in a box. I built a career that took me out of my own house for 41 years. And every single year I told myself the same thing. I'm doing this for them. Here's what I want you to understand. I wasn't lying. I believed it. Every single hour I was gone, I believed it. That's the part that's hardest to live with at 78. The most damaging thing I ever did, I did completely sincerely. Margaret told me in 1992, after Claire's 12th birthday, like the second one I'd missed in a row, she said, "Frank, Claire keeps asking when you're coming home. I've stopped having an answer." I told her, "Mar, this deal closes in March." Then I ease up. I didn't ease up. In 1995, Claire was 16. She wrote me a letter and put it on my desk in my home office. I came in late, saw it, told myself I'd read it Sunday. Sunday I had a showing in Wheaton. I put the letter in a drawer. I found it in 2025, going through old files. I was 63 years late. And then there was Hank Coleman, my best friend. We'd been brokers together since 1978. We were on his boat on Lake Geneva, August of 2012. He said to me, I remember the exact words. He said, "Frank, I think we sold our kids for a pretty nice view." I laughed. 3 months later, Hank had a heart attack at his desk, 61 years old. At his funeral, his daughter wouldn't speak to me. She'd watched her father become me. 3 warnings across 32 years, spoken plainly. I heard none of them. I was too busy. Stop the video right now, if you can, and ask yourself, honestly, when was the last time you said, after this deal closes, after this quarter, after bonus season, when the project ships? When was the last time you skipped your kid's recital because the meeting couldn't be moved? When did you last hear yourself promise, next year I'll slow down? When did you last tell someone you love that you'd make it up to them? Those sentences, that's where it starts. If you can't remember a single one, good. You're already doing the harder thing. Keep going. But if 3 came to mind while I was talking, if your stomach just dropped a little, please keep watching. Because that feeling in your chest right now is the same feeling I felt the night Margaret asked me to come home in 1992. I ignored it for 32 more years. I'm asking you, don't. 3 months after Thanksgiving, March of 2025, an envelope showed up in my mailbox, no return address, Naperville, postmark. Inside was a single photocopy page from a book. I never found out which book. Claire wouldn't tell me. She told her mother only that her therapist had given it to her. There was one sentence highlighted in yellow. One. The handwriting in the margin was Claire's. She'd written in pencil just the word, this. The sentence read, "Providing is the most respectable form of absence." I sat at my kitchen table and read that sentence for an hour, out loud, quietly, out loud again, because I finally had words for what I'd done. Providing as absence. I'd thought providing was the opposite of absence. I thought every overtime hour was the proof of love. The bigger the paycheck, the louder the I love you. But here's what that sentence taught me. Showing up at the office is not showing up at home. Wiring tuition is not knowing your daughter. A college fund is not a father. And the cruelest part is that providing was the version of absence nobody could criticize me for. If I'd been a drunk, somebody would have said something. If I'd been violent, somebody would have intervened. If I'd just been gone, my kids would have been allowed to be angry. But I was providing. I was working hard. I was being responsible. So when Claire was lonely, at 6, at 12, at 16, she had no language for it. No one would let her be angry at the man paying for her ballet shoes. She had to swallow it for 40 years. Until last Thanksgiving, at my kitchen sink. Let me tell you what Claire actually said. I owe you the whole sentence now. She was rinsing the gravy boat, water running, Margaret laughing in the next room. I came in for the carving knife. I said something dumb. I said, "Hey kiddo, you doing okay?" And Claire said, and I have replayed this every night for 17 months, "Dad, I felt like an orphan whose bills are paid." I said, "What did you just say?" She said, "You heard me, Dad." I got defensive. I want to be honest about that. The first thing out of my mouth was, "Claire, I worked my entire life so you wouldn't have to feel like..." And she put the gravy boat down. She turned around and she said, "Dad, I know. That's the point." That was when I understood. That was the point. Every hour I'd worked so she'd never want for anything had been an hour she'd wanted me. And the better I got at providing, the more elegant my absence became, the more unimpeachable, the harder for her to name without sounding ungrateful. Then she picked up the gravy boat. She finished the dishes. I went out to the garage and sat in my car for 40 minutes with the engine off. I'm 78 years old, and I had never, until that moment, understood my own daughter. Here's the why I promised you, the real one. It wasn't the missed birthdays, it wasn't the recitals, it wasn't even the lake house I bought instead of being home on weekends. It was that I had built an entire identity around being a good father by being absent. That identity was so airtight, so socially approved, so respected by every man I knew, that when my own daughter tried to tell me, at 12, at 16, at 28, at 40, I literally could not hear her. I heard ingratitude. I heard a teenager's drama. I heard a grown woman who didn't understand sacrifice. I heard everything except the one thing she was actually saying. I needed you. The money was never the point. The provider identity wasn't a role I played. It was the wall I'd built between me and the truth. And every dollar I earned made the wall a little taller, a little harder for either of us to climb over. Claire didn't pull away because I failed to provide. She pulled away because providing was all I knew how to do. And at some point, she stopped asking for anything else. If you're watching this, and your kids are still small or still talking to you, you have something I can't get back. You have ordinary Tuesdays. Here's what I wish I'd known. Go to the boring event, not the championship, not the graduation, the Tuesday night practice, the Saturday morning soccer game where nobody scores. The big events are for grandparents. The boring ones are for parents. Stop saying after this there is no after. The deal closes and there's another deal. The quarter ends and there's another quarter. Your child is aging in real time while you wait for a finish line that does not exist. When your kid tells you something about a friend, a teacher, a fear, your only job is to put your phone down and ask one more question. Not solve it, not fund it. Ask the next question. That's it. And if you've already missed years, if you're hearing this and feeling it land, don't try to make it up with a vacation or a check or a grand gesture. That's still providing. That's still the wall. Just show up, quietly, repeatedly, to the boring middle of their life. There are 6 words I should have said to Claire 40 years ago. I said them in a letter in April. I'll say them to you now. I should have come home. I'm 78. Claire is talking to me again, slowly, carefully, like someone testing a step on a staircase that already gave way once. I have not earned her trust back. I'm not asking her to give it. I'm just trying to be there now. Tuesdays, boring Tuesdays, Emma's school play in October, a cup of coffee in Claire's kitchen where I don't fix anything and don't pay for anything and don't say much at all. That's the work. That's the only work. If you've watched this far, I'm asking one thing. Don't wait until you're 78. Don't wait for a Thanksgiving sentence at a kitchen sink. This week, go to the most ordinary thing in your child's life. Don't bring a gift. Don't make a speech. Just be there, quietly, the whole time. Share this video with one person who needs to hear it. They'll know who they are. Subscribe if you want to hear more from me while I'm still here. And in the comments, tell me about an ordinary Tuesday you missed. I'll read every one.